Doctor Strange is like looking at a blacklight poster on Uppers. It's pretty and you're having a good time, but you've also got a nagging sense that maybe somebody brought the wrong drugs to the party. Okay, now don't freak out, Marvel fan persons. The movie is good, even great in some respects. It's fine. It's just fine. Thing is, Marvel has got making superhero movies good down to such an exact science that it's almost more interesting to just start from, yeah, it's good right up front, and then focus on the smaller imperfections, because at this point there's more interesting discussion to be had on the review side that way. You know, same thing as with Pixar. But for what it's worth, yeah, Doctor Strange is a damn fun little movie, and overall, I recommend it highly. But anyway, now let me ruin my too clever by half drug reference by explaining the joke. You see, up to this point, Doctor Strange was always one of those Marvel Comics characters who was all over the place, but never seemed able to sustain his own comic for an especially long time. Everyone seemed to agree it was cool to have an on-call wizard around whenever Spider-Man or the Avengers or the Hulk or whoever had a magic problem, but it never felt like enough to follow him on his own adventures because, well, wizards are tough to do. Their exploits tend to be more esoteric than thrilling, and the stakes are always vaguely defined because wizard. But what did get popular about Doctor Strange tended to be the intensely psychedelic art pioneered by Steve Ditko to depict the otherworldly cosmic magical shit that Strange would get wrapped up in on a monthly basis, inasmuch as it turned the comics into an in-the-know cult item among the acid rock scene in the 60s and 70s. He was the tune-in, turn-on, deadhead superhero of choice for the psychotropic set. And credit where it's due, the filmmakers from director Scott Derrickson on down all seem to have keyed in on that specific groove being the key part of Doctor Strange's basic appeal. All the mystical mumbo-jumbo that informs the movie's mythos reflects an appropriately retro new age vibe. Michael Giacchino's score even throws a goddamn sitar lick into the soundtrack, and the stunning visual effects used to depict both the magic user's various powers and the cosmic realms they explore are lovingly drawn from abstract and surrealist artwork's greatest hit catalog. Not just Ditko's original comic art, but progressive rock album covers, Magic Eye posters, MC Escher, and even an entire whole dimension that looks like Dali by way of Lisa Frank. And the results, make no mistake, are pretty damn incredible. In some ways, Doctor Strange is a smaller scale Marvel movie. It's almost refreshing how not massive and overblown this thing is, all things considered, and it really feels more like a standalone Phase 1 movie than any of these have felt in a while. Closest comparison would probably be the first Thor movie, but with the added benefit of those aforementioned mind-blowing visuals. And whenever the film does dive right into that stuff, it comes close to being as legit mind-blowing as The Matrix was back in 1999. When Strange and company are throttling through space and time, you just want to lean back, expand your mind, and savor the trip. So it's kinda too bad the movie just won't chill out and let you do just that. You see, the thing about psychedelia is, you don't rock out to it. You groove on it, you soak, you savor, you drink it in and let the layers of the universe or spectrum of reality or whatever gradually reveal themselves. Combine that with a character who wrestles with hand gestures and ridiculously named mystic relics and magic words rather than brute force, and who doesn't really have to obey the laws of physics or time, and Doctor Strange feels like its ideal form ought to have been a more laid-back, blissed-out, ride-the-mood-stream exploration adventure kind of thing. But it's pretty clear that the filmmakers have accepted that all superhero movies must be action films, so the film keeps going for propulsive momentum and kinetic fight scenes instead of deliberately paced immersion and esoteric intellectual grappling that might have been more appropriate. I mean, it doesn't kill the movie by any stretch. In fact, forcing themselves to make an action movie means they come up with these amazing set pieces where they're conjuring magic weapons out of thin air and manipulating gravity and reality. It's getting twisted out of shape, but the objects all still have physical mass while they're changing. I mean, holy shit, one of the big set pieces is a fight scene where the people are fighting in real time, but the explosions and debris and fireballs and city falling apart stuff in the background is actually rewinding itself backwards in time. That's nuts! And there's a few more set pieces in there like that that are worth the ticket price all on their own. It's just hard to shake the sense that letting the big ideas and the unique visuals deliver thrills on their own terms and speak for themselves rather than reworking them into roller coasters and fistfight templates might have made a more unique and even more fun movie. I mean, when did we agree that every superhero movie also needs to be an action movie? Not every war movie is an action movie, not every cop movie is an action movie. Hell, there's not even that much boxing in most of the Rocky movies. You're allowed to slow the hell down with these things, aren't you? And it feels like they even knew this because the final battle, no spoilers, does end up being all about wits and clever use of altered reality comprehension rather than punching. There's just maybe still a little too much punching to go to get there. Still, that's not to say that those crazy fight scenes aren't a good time in their own right. And really the only place that it overall seems to detract from the actual movie as a creative decision is the pacing. See, the most interesting stuff in the movie by far is the second act, where Strange is acting as audience POV character on a tour through all the new magical realms and artifacts he's discovering while learning to use the mystic arts at Kamatage. But the film is in such a hurry to get to the Act 3 battle stuff, we don't really get to soak it in like we want to. I mean, this is why the early Harry Potter movies always had the bad guy stuff as an afterthought in the last 20 minutes. The main course fun part was going through the school year. What we get here is good, you just end up wanting more of it. It also could have given the film some more time to have some mitigating nuance to the Orientalism and whitewashing issues that are inherent to the property, which, yeah, remain present and uncomfortable even as you watch the film wriggle and strain to work around them without junking the whole Doctor Strange mythos entirely. One can appreciate the attempts to rework the Ancient One in Kamatage from a stereotypical ersatz Shangri-La into something closer to a multicultural New Age rainbow coalition of warrior monks, but a lot of it is half measures that end up highlighting the problem. I do think it helps a lot that Tilda Swinton and Benedict Wong and Chiwetel Ejiofor are instantly three of the most interesting supporting characters in the entire Marvel universe right out of the gate, but yeah, this is something they're still gonna have to address later on. And also maybe find more screen time for Rachel McAdams, because, surprise, her character feels like she could have been as interesting as Pepper Potts if they just gave her more room, which she doesn't quite get. Now, I'm feeling like this review probably sounds a little negative, but like I said, the stuff that makes Doctor Strange overwhelmingly a good, occasionally very good movie is the stuff you pretty much already knew was there when you saw the Marvel sticker on the front of it. The production values are aces, the action scenes kick ass and are inventive as hell, the visuals are gorgeous, and most of all, the hero and his supporting cast are terrifically realized characters whose world you can't wait to see more of, and whose integration into the broader cinematic universe makes the prospect of several more future movies all the more exciting. I guess it maybe could have stood to be a little more strange is all. 3 stars, recommended. Folks, it's honestly starting to feel like the Marvel train may just never actually stop. And if the movies all stay as solid as Doctor Strange, I'm pretty much okay with that.